No, no, no. Welcome to Knit Night with Mekamika. I'm here, my name is Shamika, and I'm here to talk to you about a test knit. So I'm currently, right now it is February 14th. This test knit is going to be released on March 8th. So by the time you're seeing this, it should already be live, but I want to give you a little insight as to how does one do a test knit, what happens in the course of your life while you're trying to complete this test knit, what can you run into, different issues you may have trying to complete the pattern. It may not even be your fault, or it's not even the designer's fault. Things happen, but I just want to take you on a little journey from start to finish of me making this pattern. So the pattern in question is the, oh wait, before I start with the pattern, let me explain what a test knit is for those of you who may not know. So when a designer designs a pattern, what they would do is put a call out for test knitters. So they will show a portion of the pattern, maybe a picture of a half finished, whatever the object is, and they would gauge interest, and us knitters will apply to do a test knit. And the test knit is basically us testing the pattern to make sure that the instructions make sense, to make sure that the yarn qualifications are up to par. And sometimes a designer, will encourage test knitters to use different kinds of yarns, or they want a broad range of different sizes. If it's a sweater pattern or something of the sort, or maybe a hat pattern that has 3 different sizes, or maybe more than 3 different sizes. So they want to get the experience of experienced knitters to make this thing happen. And another payoff for them is when the pattern goes live, they have all of the people who have made it have pictures that they can post on Ravelry, on Instagram, on all the social medias to, you know, gauge more interest. And that would ensure, hopefully, a successful release of the pattern. So the said pattern is the Baking Doodle. That's what it's called right now. The name could change, but we're just calling it the Baking Doodle. So a doodle is, it's designed by Jamie Lomax, and the doodle, it's, okay, how do I say this? Okay. There are a bunch of doodle patterns out there, right? And they all have different themes. So let's talk about, for example, there was a Rhinebeck doodle. So the Rhinebeck doodle it's a cowl pattern, and you can pick from different colorways, and there are kits being sold for specific colorway groups, or you could just stash dive, do whatever you want. And then you pick different colorwork motifs. So for Rhinebeck, it was like a maple leaf and an apple, and, you know, things that are reminiscent of fall, like stuff like that, if I remember correctly. So it's like a build your own cowl journey, and you start off literally with like 20 different pictures that you can pick and choose which ones you want, if you want to double them up, if you want to use them all, if you want to use only 2 of them, whatever you want to do. And they give you a little formula for how many stitches you're going to need based on your gauge and the length that you want. And you basically just work how many charts you can fit into this specified space, right? So there are two versions. So you have a regular cowl that is just knit in a tube, and it's just, you know, you put your head through the hole and it just lays flat. And then there's another version where you make a long tube and you join it, you graft it together, and it goes around your neck, but all of the motifs will be kind of like sideways because you knit it in a long tube going this way. So it'll turn this way and wrap around your neck. And it's going to be double as warm, but it's going to take double the amount of yarn. So of course I decided I want to make the big one because why not? And it gives me extra room to add more motifs to this whole pattern. So I decided that I'm going to start this doodle cowl. Initially, when I saw it, at first I was like, I'm not casting anything on because I have all these whips behind me. But I saw the Baking Doodle, like just a little snippet that was put on Instagram, and I was like, I need this. And then I tagged Mekamika Bakes, who is my other personality when I'm in the kitchen making cupcakes, and I was like, you need this. So it's gotta be done. It's gotta be done. And it's so funny because they asked when you apply to do the test knit, like they ask you questions because they want to know the personalities of the people who are coming into this test knit. Obviously, as a designer, you want to know who your audience is, who's working with you, right? So they were like, why do you want to knit this? I'm like, I love to bake, I love to knit. And the design that they showed was pink. I'm like, I'm all over this and I can do this. So that being said, we're gonna start. And the completion date is the 5th of March. And it is now February 14th. So I have a few weeks, maybe. I haven't counted how many days yet, but I'll figure it out. And I can show you my progress as I go along. So come along on this journey with me, see what it is to really just be hyper focused on one project. I'm gonna try my best. We all know. Now I'm just gonna like, this is my main focus. I am not going to all of a sudden start casting on all the things because this is top priority. I want it to be done. And if I have enough yarn left over, crossing fingers, I want to make a hat to go with it because why not, you know? So I would just have to work the numbers a little bit to get the desired width for my head, but I think I can make it work. I could do math, like, or I could go down a needle size. It'll be fine. So yeah, so let's get started. Let's get the doodle going, and I'm gonna take you on my journey. It's not promised to be all roses, even though rose is one of the colors that I would be using. Things happen, you know, sometimes you cast something on and it doesn't look right the first time and you got to do it over. Like, you know, things happen, but we're going to forge ahead. We're going to keep going. We're going to not give up, and we're going to have this doodle cowl done and on time, and it's going to be beautiful. And that is the positive energy that I'm giving this to this project. So come along with me and let's have fun and let's do the baking doodle. So I am going to stash dive for the yarn for this doodle cowl test knit, and I don't want to say too much, but we're stash diving. So this is the colorway that I want to use as my main accent color. This is Botanical Yarn Monarda. It's a DK weight yarn, and it is in nylon and merino. So this is just the superwash yarn, the sock yarn, but it's DK weight sock yarn. So the whole pattern calls for DK weight yarn. You need 1 full skein of the contrast color, and then you need 50 gram skeins of your, 1 full skein of the main color and 50 gram skeins of the contrast color. So I have 2 50 gram skeins here, so I can get away with it being a little more pink than it is supposed to be. So now I am going to stash dive. Okay, so we have opened the DK weight stash bin, and I have no idea what's in here because this has been in the back of my closet and I haven't gone into it for a while. I may have some worsted weight stuff in here too, so let's just figure this all out. So this is definitely a sweater quantity of Lola Bean yarn, so we're not going to break this up. We don't know what sweater is going to be, but we don't want to break up all of that, so we're just going to rest this over here so it doesn't touch the floor. I'm just going to try to pull single skeins that could work with this motif. This is leftover yarn when I first started knitting. If you look, I mean, you can't even see how much I paid for it. It just, the paper is like dissolving. This is yarn that I purchased to make a sweater. Never made the sweater. It was a colorwork sweater, but it had purling on the back and I had just started knitting and it just wasn't going to work for me. So this may be a contender. So we're going to pull this aside and see how it works with our colors. Also, this is another one that could be a contender. So we're going to pull this out. And this looks like it could be the main color. And we'll have this as the base and the pops of color on top of it. So this is definitely a contender. And what else do I have here? Okay, so we have Neighborhood Fiber 1600 pen. This is such a special colorway. I would hate to mix it in with other things and it get lost. So we're going to leave that in here. I'm looking for something brownish, maybe like the color of like cookies. That could work. What is this? Oh, this is the Farmer Daughter's Fiber. I had bought this to make a cowl with a brioche cowl, so we're not going to touch that. Let's keep digging. I keep finding these Cash Soft DKs. They look like they might actually work because we need 50-gram balls, and booyah, here we have it. So I'm going to put this in the pile. So far we have these 3 colors chosen that are possibilities, and we're gonna just keep digging. I see something here. This was to go with Farmer's Daughter fibers, so we're not gonna touch that. Let's see. Back to the Cash Soft DK. I'm gonna pull all of these out because that looks like that sweater is not gonna get made anymore. I don't even have the yarn set up for it anymore, so it's just not gonna work. So we're just gonna keep it moving. Oh, we have another one of these Madeline Tosh DK weight yarns, so I'm gonna add that here because we might need 2 of them based on how long we want to make this sweater. I really love this Forbidden colorway from Asylum Fibers, and look at the sparkle, so cute. We're gonna add this to the pile as well because it could work. And I have a second one here. I don't necessarily need 2 of them, but I'm just gonna pull it out anyway. Okay, so I did another dive in another place that I had some DK weight yarns, and I found these 3 from Trey Liz Yarn. She did give it to me to use in conjunction with each other to make a hat or a cowl or something that could be a fade. However, since we're only using portions of the yarn, I think I could still get a good fade something even if I use a portion of these colors. I just want to add that this is a true stash yarn dive cowl because I mean, these yarns are the oldest yarns I have here. This was like from the first colorwork sweater project that I decided. This was a gift. This is like my absolute favorite color from Asylum Fibers, and it's sparkly, so it has to be a part of it. This is my absolute favorite color from Botanical Yarn, Monarda. So I received this, I think, a little bit before Rhinebeck, like maybe September or maybe in the summer time. This was a gift from my beautiful friend Liz, Trey Liz, who dyes amazing, beautiful yarn. And so we did a gift exchange for Christmas one year, so I'm very grateful for that, as well as this one. This is a Madeline Tosh yarn that I I don't even remember when I purchased it. It was to make something, but obviously it didn't get made. So here we are. And this is leftovers from a previous something or the other. So it's just a full conglomerate of a little piece of yarn fell on the floor. I'll pick that up. It's a full conglomerate of all these yarns spanning all of my knitting life, spanning friendships, spanning just a whole big learning process. And it's just me forging forward. So I already love where this cowl is going. So let's get started planning, shall we? So my first step will be to wind these 3 colorways, because the first motif that I'm going to do is a really high contrast 2-color motif, but I don't know which one I want yet. So I'm going to start with these and then see wherever things go. Yeah, so let's get to winding. I have made it to row 4 of the chart. You can't really see much now, but I mean, the colors look nice together. However, I'm like, why isn't this thing flattening out? Of course, it's twisted. So I have to rip it all out again and start all over. I am using Madeline Tosh Antler and a Salon Fibers, what is this color called? Forbidden. I will say one good thing about that's helping me out here is this yarn guide. So if you are a continental knitter and you want to do color work and you want your floats to be even, I mean, you can't really see it. I mean, you can kind of see it, but it'll look better if it was not twisted, and I could flatten it out and show you if I had knit more rows. But this yarn guide is very helpful with ensuring that you have even stitches. So basically what it does is it separates the 2 colors, and you just pick with the right needle off of the tip of your finger. As you can see, like, kind of do it like that, and I just pick the yarn. Well, I'll show it again when I'm actually knitting, when I fix this, but I think I'm gonna call it a night now. This is day 1 of this test knit, and I'm happy that I picked out my colors, but I'm not happy that I made this mistake. Even though I went back and unraveled a row, checked it, and tried again, and this mistake is still there. So I don't know if it is me picking up the provisional cast on. I don't know what it was, but I'm just gonna rip it all out and start all over because I don't want to fight with it anymore. Rip fast and start over and not dwell on it. So the next time you see this pattern, it will be going in a positive direction, I promise. Okay, this is attempt number 2. We've just finished the provisional cast on. I've put markers in between every one of the amount of stitches needed for each pattern motif. And we're going to try this again. I have to knit 2 rows of stockinette without twisting. God help me. Okay, so I just knitted 1 row, picking up the provisional cast on, and it looks like at the join, it looks like we are okay. So I'm just gonna do 1 more row to make sure nothing is funky. As you can see, all of the purple is on the inside of this ring. That's how you can tell, crossing fingers, that it's all good. And then once I know that it's on correctly and not twisted, for sure, I'm gonna go to bed because I'm tired. Okay, now that we are working again and we have the correct orientation of the stitches on the needle, I just want to take a time to show you how I hold my yarn. I have both yarns attached to my finger with the yarn guide, and when I knit, I just literally just pull whichever color I need, and it allows me to have a better even tension along the work, and it actually helps me move faster because I'm knitting continental. So this is great, but it only really works if you're knitting continental. I'm sorry if you're knitting any other, in any other orientation. They don't have a yarn guide for that. I apologize. I got this one at Knit Picks and it was less than $5, maybe less than $3. I can't even remember. I got it so long ago, but this is my tried and true tool when I'm doing color work, and it makes it fly. So now that we have fixed everything, I'm really going to go to bed and deal with tomorrow is going to be a new day, and we will do new things tomorrow. So yeah. This is now day 2 of me working on this Baking Doodle pattern. And if you can recall, yesterday I was a bit upset because I had twisted my stitches as I was completing the round. So I had a Mobius and we didn't want that. As you can see now, this is the beginning of my round and it is flat. And you can see some of the design popping out, which is very nice. So I have knit about half of one of the patterns, the amount of pattern rows. So I've knit about half of it and it's moving along quite nicely. So I'm really enjoying it. I want to thank my friend Pedro for making these beautiful stitch markers. He knows I love rose gold, so he made these little rose gold shells. He gave me these for my birthday. And thank you so much, Pedro. So I'm definitely putting them to use. So they have numbers. So I decided to number each section because if I run into an issue where I have to drop back to fix a specific, you know, like sometimes you'll pick up the wrong color when you're knitting color work. You're going so fast and you look at it after the fact and you're like, oh my goodness, I messed up. And you don't want to rip back the whole thing. I want to at least know, okay, if I mess up, it's between sections 1 and 2, between stitch markers 1 and 2. So I know, okay, I have a reference point to where this, you know, potential problem is if I make a mistake. So I just wanted to do that, and I wanted to come here and show you guys. So this is where I am, day 2, and I'm going to keep knitting. So we'll see how far we can get by tomorrow. Yeah. And I also have to decide what do I want as my next motif, because I'm seeing a lot of progress in the group chat with other people who are knitting, and everything looks so beautiful. And every time I think I decide what I want, I keep changing my mind. So I'm just going to keep going with it, keep rolling with it. And I'm really happy. And when I tell you that, like I said, when you have the knitting gauge, the yarn guide on your finger, it makes your stitches really even. Like, just look at that. Look at that. Like, I can't ask for anything more. I'm very happy. So today is the 19th. I have an update on the Baking Doodle Cowl. Hopefully this is clear enough for you to see. So I completed the, uh-oh, is there a mistake here? Oh my God, I found a mistake. Do I rip it back? No, it's not a mistake. It's not a mistake. I thought it was. It's actually where the front meets, where the beginning of the chart meets the end. So it's not a mistake. It's just going to be a little bit off because it's the join. So, whoo, okay. Let's not go crazy now. Okay, back to what I was saying. This is the Baking Doodle Cowl, and the first section is supposed to be, I guess, some like piping designs, and then the second section is eggs, and then the third section is a whisk, and that's why I made it this color, because whisks are, you know, gray, silvery. So I'm going to move forth with the next section, and you will see that updated tomorrow, because I'm gonna chillax and watch a movie and continue with this. So we are making good progress. I'm very happy. It's beautiful, and it's gonna be super warm, and the floats are floating and they're doing their thing. So yeah, this is the baking cowl. So today is February 20th, and I have an update on my Baking Doodle Cowl. Yesterday we ended up at the whisk portion of the cowl. It looks a little, you know,
wobbly. Not wobbly. I mean, my tension is pretty decent, but this is doing this because this is superwash wool and it's not, if it was bare wool or natural wool that was not treated, it would have better, what do you call it? It would meld together better. So that's why we're getting these little lumps and bumps, but it will block out. I am not worried about it in the slightest. So I finished the next motif, which are the bowls. I think they're super cute. I will add, I did use Rowan Cash Soft DK. This is a yarn I had from a really long time ago. I was making a sweater, first colorwork sweater I ever decided to make. I bought Rowan Cash Soft DK, and I was a big girl and I spent over $100 on yarn, and I still never completed it because I realized I had to knit backwards or actually do colorwork on the purl side, and it drove me nuts. I cast it on again and decided that I was going to steek it, and then I decided not to. So I'm just using the yarn for different projects. But this is cashmere and this is merino wool. So it just feels a little different. This feels very soft compared to this, which feels a little bit more of a tighter spin on the yarn. But all in all, it's going to be fine. I'm not stressing it at all. So next we have, this is going to be a mixing bowl. So this is the actual whisk portion of the mixing bowl that I'm starting here with the gray. The gray, excuse me. The gray is leftover wool from, I don't even know what. It's just, I found it in my stash. So this is truthfully, definitely a stash busting yarn adventure, and I am absolutely loving it. So yeah, so the mixing bowl is going to be next, and I have no idea what I'm going to do after that. I'm going to just keep going along. I think I might want to introduce another color. The mixing bowl in itself is going to have 3 different colors on one row of knitting. So there are some tutorials that I want to watch when I get to that. So actually I'll watch them right now so that I know what I'm doing. And then I will show you what it looks like. Right now the floats look pretty beautiful. I've been trying my best to be very diligent about making sure I catch them. And yeah, so this is where we're at with this, and I'll show you more tomorrow. Yeah.
So this is the status of my doodle cowl on February 23rd. This is Friday night. I've been working on this part since yesterday, and it is not easy. It looks a little wonky now because it needs to be blocked. However, 3 colors in one row. I had to look up a few YouTube tutorials, and there was some combination stuff with you holding the dominant color, the background color in the right hand, and the 2 contrasting colors, which would have been the gray and the pink, in the left hand. But then after a while, I just put both of them on here, and I put the white one here and then the 2 contrasting colors here, because since you got to keep it the background color on the right and the 2 contrasting colors on the left for the whole color dominance thing. I don't know if I did it perfectly correctly, but it's done and I'm glad. So I am making the cowl that is going to be Kitchenered at, grafted. So it's going to be a long tube, and I think for that specific type of cowl, because there's so many beautiful motifs, I need as much length as possible. So I'm deciding to make the large, and the large is going to be roughly 30 inches long. So I'm like, let me just measure. So we've almost got like 10 inches here, which I'm really happy with. So I'm a third of the way done. This pattern repeat was one of the longer ones because they have, you know, the shorter ones here. The bowl, which is so cute. The bowl was actually one repeat on its own, one motif on its own. So I just wanted it to look like, hey, we're putting the mixer in the bowl. That was just me being, you know, funny, whatever. So yeah. So next up, I think I want to do a chef hat, and I want to make the background be the pink so that this little section can be encompassed in the pink. And then I will work another bigger, larger pattern after that, so that way we get some variation, because we have short pattern, short pattern, short pattern, short. Well, this looks super large, and then we'll have another short pattern up here, and then I'll do another larger one on top of that. I'm just kind of I've picked my favorites, and I'm just going along as I go. Nothing is really super planned out, except for like when I get to the actual like when I'm about to start, then I'm like, okay, what do I want to do with my colors? Because I want to know if to cut the yarn or keep going. So for the next round, for the next section with the chef hats, I am going to make the chef hat white, obviously, and I'm going to have pink as the background. So I'm not going to change colors. So that's really good because it's less ends for me to weave in. So I'm just going to try to maintain where if I can keep at least one color carried from one yarn, one motif to the next, it would be nice. So, but that's just me just being a little extra. You don't have to do it this way, but it's just trying to make it easier for myself with the weaving in and all the ends, as you can see. So, I mean, all of this will be on the inside. I cannot wait to block this. Like, I cannot wait to see once it gets wet and we move around the stitches, how it blooms, how it pops. Everything here is like superwash merino, but this is a cashmerino blend from Rowan, and this is a cashmere wool blend from Knit Picks. I don't know if it's gonna mean anything when it blooms, when it blocks, whatever, but hey, it's all DK weight yarn. I'm just going with the flow, and I am super excited about this cowl. I'm happy with my progress so far, and I need to hurry it up because I want to finish this by next weekend, because I don't want to be stressed to do kitcheneering during the week when I have work. I want to like, if I can get it done next Sunday, which would be Sunday, 7 days, 9 days from now, that would be great. So I'm giving myself, that's going to be my deadline for myself. And if I can get it done before next Sunday, it'll be even better. So that's my goal, and let's keep going. We have an update on my Baking Doodle Cowl. Today is the 27th. I gave myself a deadline, a self-proposed deadline that is in 6 days and 14 hours. So I honestly want to get this done by the end of the weekend, honestly, because I want to, it's going to involve kitcheneering, and then I'm going to have to do the blocking and all of that, and I want to just give it some time. But I feel like I'm doing very well. This is about halfway done at this point right here. So I have about 90 more, well, this is about 10 rows. So I have about 80 more rows to go in this whole motif. So I finished the oven mitts, and I love them. I love that I used the variegated pink, and it looks super cool. And the next step is the KitchenAid mixer. So this is the bowl, and this is the stand right here. So I just have to complete this particular motif. Now the thing is, it's 3 colors, so you see right there. So I find that it was pulling, and then I made a few mistakes. I had to rip back, but I think I'm on a really good trajectory right now to complete this today, and maybe well, I need to start the next, whatever the next motif is going to be. I'm not sure what it is going to be yet, but I can tell you I am really excited and happy about where this has come so far. I really think that I will probably do one of the smaller motifs and then do another big one before. Like, I don't want to do, because this one is kind of big, this one here. When I say big, meaning the larger amount of rows. So this one's kind of big. This one's a little bigger, going to be a little bigger than that. It's probably going to be about the same size as this mixer. And then I want to do a smaller one in between so that it kind of just breaks it up a little bit. And for the smaller ones, I find that switching the background and foreground colors really have a nice effect. So just to kind of break it up a little bit, this is really randomized, but I'm trying to be contrived about it, but then again, halfway not. And I'm just, you know, just going with the flow, and whatever motif I see comes into my head next that I think will work. So yeah, so this is where we're at, and I will have an update once I make more progress. Hey everyone, so we have another checkup of this Baking Doodle Cowl. Today is Friday, March 1st. The deadline is March 4th. So the last time you saw me, I was somewhere around here. So I added some new things. Here are my cupcakes. You guys know I love a good cupcake. And then I added actual cake. And I really love this pink color. That's the background. It's my Trellis yarn. Do I remember the name of it? No, because it was a one of a kind. So sorry, but it's beautiful. It's a beautiful pink. I also used it here. But anyway, we are getting to the end of this. I have 2 more motifs to work on. I am going to work on an oven right now. So it's going to be about the same height of this particular KitchenAid mixer here. So it'll be about this much more. And after the oven, I'm going to decide if what the next motif is, but it will be one of the smaller ones, like maybe this length right here, this height, I should say. So that should get me to 30 inches in the entire length of this. And I should be able to, it should be able to go around my neck properly. So let's see how much I can get done tonight. It is now 9 o'clock. I am giving myself until midnight, and then I'm gonna turn it in for the night. I'm gonna maybe watch a movie and get this going. So I will give you an update pretty soon, in about 3 hours. Let's go. Hey everyone, so it is about 3.5 hours later, a little past midnight, and I have here some ovens. I always wanted a pink oven, but my actual real one is stainless steel, but I can live through my fantasy of having a pink oven on this doodle cowl. So I'm happy to say that this is done, and I just have one more little motif to finish. However, this is how much yarn I have left, and I need to be very, very careful. I was using this as the background color, and I'm going to need to use this to Kitchener the, or I should say graft the ends together. So we have this here. So this is going to be what I'm grafting it to. So I should save this because I don't want to rip into another skein of yarn. So whatever my next pattern motif is going to have to be something using different colors. I think I like this color combo here, so we might do something with this because I mean, even the pink is like not that much existent anymore. But if push comes to shove, I would do one random row of this color just so that when excuse me, just so that when I graft this, I'm grafting this color to this. The purple is actually the provisional cast on, which I will be picking up from, so I'm going to be grafting the cream color. So I am very excited. Let's do a check on the length, and then we can see how far we've come. Okay, so we have our measuring tape here, and it looks like we are at 25 inches, but when we stretch it, we could maybe get it to 26. The large size is supposed to be at 30 inches, so it's not the length we need it to be. We still have to add one more pattern repeat, but I wanted to make it something that's like not too big. So this would be roughly adding 1.5 inches to 20, so it'll make it 27.5 maybe when it's all said and done. And it's supposed to be 30, but the medium size I think is 26 inches. So I'm hovering somewhere between medium and large. I'm gonna add one more motif and see how, you know, just join it together and see how it fits. And if it works, it works. If not, then I'll add another motif. That's all. But I did calculate this. I thought I hit gauge, but I never really measured gauge because it's kind of like, you know, it's a cowl. It's not a sweater. So I thought I could get away with it, but whatever. It'll work out. And then it still needs to be blocked. So when it blocks, this is superwash. It should grow a little bit. So hopefully we should be okay. So yeah. Now I'm going to call it a night and continue tomorrow with the finishing, hopefully. Yay! Okay, so I am finally back from my fun day of exploring Queens, coffee shops, and knitting and Spanish classes. So this is the last motif that I worked on, which is the rolling pin. And I am going to try this on now to see if I've knit enough to satisfy my curiosity. If I've knit enough so that it comfortably goes around my neck. So let us try this on and see how it goes. I decided to take one last measurement of what I have so far, and we are at 27 inches. The size large is supposed to be 30 inches, but let's just see how long. Let's just see how it looks and see if we want to add something else. Yeah. Okay, so we are here and we are going to try on the Baking Doodle Cowl to make sure that the length, which will become the width around my neck, makes sense and fits me. So we're gonna just go around here, and this is where we stand. So does this work for me? I think it does. It feels very cozy around my neck. And also, I mean, it's a little stiff now because it still needs blocking, but I think we are good. I really do think we're good. I think I'm done. Yeah, so we just have to do one more row in the white color or cream color, whatever you want to call it, and then we're gonna graft it together and we can block it. And when we block it, it will stretch a little bit. I do want it to be close to my neck because I want it to be super warm. I don't want like extra space here so that the wind can get through. And I think once it's blocked and loosens up a little bit, it will be, you know, a little bit more relaxed and fine, be able to flow a little better. But it's going to be quadruple warm on my neck, which is amazing. I also have a jacket that matches this hot pink. I love the hot pink accents here. This is so beautiful, this KitchenAid. I wish my KitchenAid was hot pink. It is light pink, like this color pink almost, but you know, I can have the KitchenAid of my dreams on my cowl. So I'm going to work on getting this grafted. So I am at the sink and we are ready to soak this baby. I added 2 rows of the white yarn just so that when we graft it with this section here, it is seamless in color. This is by far the most satisfying part of the process, when it actually gets soaked. Here we go. And I have the remaining yarn in my hand to do the grafting, so I'm just going to put that off to the side. Hopefully the whole thing won't get wet. And yeah, we're gonna soak this baby for a little bit and block it and then graft it. Okay, washing is done, and I have my cowl on a blocking mat, aka my yoga mat. So knitting yoga is a thing. I'm telling you, it is. We did a measurement, and I got 32 inches for the length and 9.5 inches for the width. That's totally fine with me. That means it can go over my head and it won't be all up on my face and my makeup won't get on it. So now it's just time to wait for it to dry. Hopefully it'll dry by tomorrow evening and I can graft it. So I am super happy with this project. So I just want to take a moment right now to look at all my floats and all the ends that I have to weave in before I graft this cowl. So this is going to be my activity for the next, I don't know how long it's going to take, but let's get to it. Okay, so we are back after weaving in all the ends. This is where the seam is right here. And as you can see, all the ends are woven in. Everything's nice and neat. And it is now time to graft this baby and put it on. Yay. Okay, so here is my cowl ready to be grafted. I have literally set up my front and back, or top and bottom, whatever you want to call it, for this cowl, and it's a circle, as you can see, that you can see right through it. You know, I can put my hand through the middle, but yeah, so we're literally lining up stitch by stitch. I put a needle, sorry, this needle's like poking, sorry. I put a needle through the stitches that were part of the provisional cast on. I just unraveled the provisional cast on and added it to the bottom. So here we are. So we're going to start now working these stitches, going across and all the way around, all the way around, all the way around until we get to the other end over here. So I just have a regular darning needle, and I have a really long, that amount that I showed you earlier. So that better be enough, because I don't want to cut into another skein of yarn. So I'm going to start grafting right now. Yay! Okay, so I just made one slight correction before I started. I realized after looking at a video on how to do this grafting stitch that the yarn should be coming from the back. I had it flipped around the other way before, so I have the stitches properly set up now, because I'm going to go in with the purl stitch in the front, knit stitch in the back to start it off, and then do the whole sequence going forward. So we are set up and ready to go. Okay, I am making good progress on my grafting. So this is where we're at, and let me just show you. This is the part, I did half of it already, and this is what I've already grafted. It's a little tight, but I don't care. I'm just going to keep going and wiggle it around so that the stitches even out. And yeah, so I have this many more stitches to go, and this will be done pretty soon. So here is my grafted section, and the cowl is done. I am so excited. Let me zoom out a little bit so you can see the whole thing. Look at that. Oh, this is my favorite piece right here. The KitchenAid. My KitchenAid is not this bright pink. It's a lighter pink, but hey, we can have the KitchenAid of our dreams on our knitting. This section here is a little bit wider, but I really don't care. I'm going to wear it anyway, and it's going to fit, and I'm going to take some finished object pictures. And I finished this pattern will be released on March 8th. It is now March 8th at 12:55 a.m. So by the time I wake up, this pattern will be live on Ravelry. I'm going to post my finished object pictures on Ravelry probably in the morning or early afternoon. And by the time this pattern goes live, you'll be watching this video and you can make your own doodle cowl with any of the beautiful motifs, any of the beautiful colors that you want to do. And they are also selling kits for it. So if you don't want to pick your own colors, you can get your own colors picked for you. So this was a dream to knit. It is beautiful. It is a work of art. I am extremely excited about it. And I think this is my favorite one. Or maybe, okay. Can we talk about these cakes? I want to bake a cake right now and do white frosting with a pink drip. Like, seriously, look at that. How beautiful. So I'm just super excited about this. Really excited about this. I'm so happy I made this. And this was a wonderful test knitting experience. And I am just happy that I got this done and blocked. And it took a while to dry, but I'm so happy I got it done in time for the deadline. So I'm super happy, super excited about this. So here is the Baking Doodle Cowl in all its glory, all finished, weaved in ends, grafted to perfection. I am wearing it with my favorite motif in the front, which is the KitchenAid stand mixer look-alike and cupcakes, because you all know me as Mekamika Bakes, cupcakes, all that good stuff. So a few words about this pattern. As a test knitter, I really enjoyed knitting it. Number one, the instructions were extremely clear. Jamie Lomax has been designing these doodle cowls for quite a while now, so her core sense of instructions and all of that is already vetted to a T. The only difference between this and any of her previous ones were the actual charts for the specific motifs. Now, if you look at an example here, this here is a 2-color chart and this is a 3-color chart. So I would say the only part that was a little challenging for me was to work a 3-color chart, meaning there are 3 colors being switched on a specific row of that particular chart. Not on all the rows, but some of them. So that was a bit of a challenge, but however, it was a learning experience for me, which is awesome because I have never done 3-color stranded knitting. So it was, once I got the hang of it, it was great. I would say that this particular piece of fabric here with the 3 colors is a little thicker than this part with the 2 colors. So you just have to account for that when you're tensioning your yarn. But all in all, it blocked out beautifully and I have no complaints, nothing wrong with it at all. It is a beautiful pattern. I am extremely excited to wear this. It's a little chilly outside, a little rainy, and I can't wait to just put on either a black coat, or I actually have a pink coat to match this. I can't wait to put that on and wear it outside and go about my day. And I kind of want a hat to go with it now, but I will have to rework the numbers to see what a hat pattern will look like. I may have to do a certain amount of motifs and add in like rows of just plain stitches in between. So we don't know yet, but we'll see. I'll see how I can figure that out, or I'll probably have to change my gauge depending on what the width of my hat is going to be. But that's another design for another day. All in all, this was fantastic. I am now going to show you what yarn was left over after this whole thing, because remember I did use I used some scrap yarns, and I used some new skeins, some really deep stash skeins, and I also had some scrap skeins that I threw in there because we wanted to get some different colors. As you can see, if I could spin it around a little bit, Like this gray was part of another hat or something that I made, and it's left over. And it was easy to just get in a little ball of yarn that was maybe, I don't even know, it might have been 10 grams or less. And I was able to use it in 2 of the motifs, as you can see here with the stand mixer and the whisk. So it's a great pattern for using up those little leftovers. And as long as you have a solid background, you're good to go. So let's talk about the finished yarn. So let's start with my first colorway. That was my main color, which is the gray. It is Madeleine Tosh DK in the colorway Antler. This is how much I had left. This was such a close call when it came to grafting. There was like, I mean, if you can't get any better than this. I can't do anything else with this. Maybe I can make a bracelet, just tie around my neck, my wrist, whatever. This is nothing. Like, so we are fully 100% used up on this skein. 100 grams down. Yes. Okay. So the next color is a Rowan Cash Soft DK. It was a 50 gram skein. For this one, I currently have about 45 grams left. So I only use 5 grams because I only did this one section here. So this is that. And then we had another Rowan Cash Soft DK. I don't remember the names of these colors, but I'm gonna call this boysenberry because it looks very berry-ish to me. I used 15 grams of this particular colorway. And we also have a yarn from Trellis that I used in my favorite section, one of my favorite sections, which is the oven mitt. This is when I introduced it into the cowl. This pink is a gorgeous pink. It's a one-of-a-kind colorway. I think the yarn, it's a merino silk. I think it's called Apollo is the classification underneath Trellis's classification system, because everything's Greek, you know, named after Greek things. But this was really, really, really nice. Really nice yarn. I only used 27 grams. So I have about 73 left. This can technically, if I had a different color brim, I could turn this into a hat. Like, this still has a lot of potential in my stash. So that is a good thing. Then we have another skein of yarn. This was the Asylum Fibers DK weight merino wool, and the colorway is Forbidden. And this, I'm looking down here at my numbers, I only used 34 grams. So, and this is one color that I use, I feel like I use it a lot in different accents, but you know, yeah. We also had this, which was a leftover from a previous skein. I don't even know how much the original mini was. So I'm going to say less than 10 grams. And right here, I think, did I weigh this? No, I don't think I did. It's really minuscule. Like, it was only used in like a small section. So 10 grams, guessing. And last but not least, the colorway that started this whole trend. This is when I saw this cowl, I said, I have to use this as my accent color, which you see here. This is the Monarda colorway from Botanical Yarn in her DK weight sock base. We have, I think, a gram left, if even that. So yeah, oops, fell on the floor. But you know, I'll call that totally used up. 50 grams, well, 49 grams, whatever you want to say. But yeah, so that is all of the yarns that I've used in this project. And I will say that a lot of times designers will put yarn specifications in the pattern, and sometimes you follow them, sometimes you don't, sometimes you're on gauge, sometimes you're off, and that can totally change how much yarn you need depending on if your gauge is tighter or looser. So my gauge was a little bit looser than what the pattern called for. I was supposed to knit 30 rows and I got 32 rows. 30 inches and I got 32 inches, but I added in an extra motif. So it's kind of like you're kind of not guessing, but I changed up a little thing and then I got a little extra, but I'm not really upset about it. You know, I will say that when the pattern recommendations for the yarn for the Infinity Cowl is definitely 100 grams of the main color, which was this. As you can see, we did use up 100 grams of the main color. And all the other colors, I think they were listed, if I'm not mistaken, at 20 grams each. So the most I used in one specific colorway was the 50 gram skein, but that was my main color. But then we have other colors that I only use 5 grams. So I think it kind of evens out. So I think the pattern writers, the designers' recommendation, I will stick to it. I think it was a pretty good estimate of the colors. And in the pattern itself, Jamie encourages you to use as many colors as you want, or as little colors as you want, or use whatever yarn you want, scraps, minis, whatever you feel like. So it's really good that this is kind of like a build it yourself, do as you please cowl, and you come up with such a beautiful design. So I agree wholeheartedly with her advice. So my final thoughts on this Baking Doodle Cowl pattern. Go out and get it. If you like baking, go out and get it. If you even like a crumb of a cupcake, go out and get it. All in all, this was a beautiful hand knit. I'm so happy to have another completed object. I am happy that it is not super hot outside yet, so I can still wear it and show it off. And this was just a fantastic project. I say go out and get it right now. If you are interested and like what you see here on this channel, please consider liking, subscribing. If you want to comment on something, feel free to go ahead and do that. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being engaged in my content. Thank you so much for just being here and supporting me. The last message that I put out, the last video that I put out, I got a lot of people responding and saying that they're happy to see me online again and they want to see more. And I didn't really know that I was missed. You don't know until someone says something. So you don't know how many people are watching. So I am thankful to all of you who've left a comment in the previous episode. And I will make more videos. I promise you. I have about 4 of them lined up right now, and they just need some finishing touches and some editing. So thank you again for all of your support. And I want to just say, you know, have a wonderful weekend and happy cowl knitting. And let's go so I can get this edited and on for you to watch. Goodbye. Take care.